with your students. You're good means you're good. You're no good means you're no good. So you do wrong. But my only request is, please keep on improving in connecting with your students. I'll just give you an example. Hey, now come to junior KG and senior KG on that. Now when the children comes in a junior KG section, a child who comes with her uniform will go and look at the face of the teacher. And if the teacher is smiling, then the child has a beautiful day lined up for herself. But if there are two teachers standing near the door and they discuss about their dress, I don't know what is your experience with life. I once had a boss who is a woman. That means when you connect with this, I'm talking about connecting with both the sex. But if you can handle a woman, you have to learn how to handle even a woman. Okay? All of us are married here. 1, 2, 3. Lu puite zadang hiam tu di khale khabu hiam ron chi ti ngai dro. Kan nei chi hiam zadang kha thiam tu dro. Moi ku meng zat ngi ni pui nei ya. Dai? Huh? 34. In Pathum Jiang Chon David Thiam Dro. 34. Kumengzan ng talk back drop. Kan kumhian dua lu tu kian drop. In niel te ka tam deu so na. Bit pesu in niel man to lo drop. Bit to lo drop. Bit to lo. See, my point is, even when you get married, you have to connect with your wife. I don't know whether I sound a little bit vulgar. Sex comes after the connection only. Oh, not before. If you don't know how to connect with your woman, you're out. And no more. I think it's all about relationship. It's all about connectivity. It's all about connection. See, let's put it this way. If your father has a very good, a sound relationship with your mother, I think chances are that you may learn something from that relationship. Okay. But if your father and mother doesn't have a good relationship, I think you have to start beginning again. Okay. See, Moy should not mind it. I've been telling him many, many times, Moy, you are too much of a solo player. I know he doesn't like it, but Nimase, Boin Po he, after some time, Moy le, Henry le, Nikki le, Pandum Nita, Adang de Panditu Nita. We have already taken the decision. After some time they will leave us because they have to work on the infrastructure. Room sharing because even if you are there, who would like to share the room with other people? Oh. See, you don't know the VC position. Hyderabad lang panghi kan khian te ang hian in the low in low lak ta in the swaldo. Kan khian te ang rondu sak eme man ni chuang lo. They are very good in delaying and see, I'll tell you, V.R. Sankarakan, President Peso, he is at least 50 times more intelligent than the other cops. But below him, whoever that we have are only good in complicating things, delaying things. Anyway, so much have to do. We see them here anti ngamlo fundraising he karon tidondika. Fundraising. Because how can you call yourself a leader when you don't want to be involved in fundraising? Mo, fundraising kan poy mo. Ni kum kha smart board pasarik. Pero, kung may peso kan target to, at least another 10 kan tumangay. Okay? And that smart board that we got 7, if you quantify it, it comes to 8.5 lakhs. If you quantify it.
Yes, comes now.
Nice to meet you once again.
No. I think it must be traffic more. I think, so you just come up, we'll come back. I'll take a short session. And then have a, I think you can take a snack.
One, two, three.
Anyway, I think my voice is good enough. I'll come down more. See, the challenge for all of us is to connect. If you are a human being, start connecting with other human beings. Simple as that. Okay? And look at your student as people, another 10 years, 11 years. I'll tell you a story, real story. In one of my last visit to Delhi, I could connect with Professor Habans Mukherjee, 80 years old. He was my teacher at JNU. 80 years old. Historian, medieval period. 80. I went to his residence and gave him one song. And another great personality which I could connect is Professor Ramila Thapar, 94 years old. I asked her, why not you take online session at least for 15-20 minutes? That also is too much for us. I am from the Mar community, so I went and gave her Thangsu Pun. Thangsu means she really has Thangsu. You still connect with your people. I look forward to Teachers' Day. That's a day when we can officially connect with our own teachers. Okay? Now, I said we need to groom ourselves in connecting with other human beings. ICFAI University page so kumin chinden nam pong nau pang ron culture page kan mul pong that to. I think Juala is not here. Till yesterday, we need only 19 students to touch 300. And out of these 300, we are not counting the PhD, first batch, second batch of 52. We are not counting the 33 from the Diploma Hospitality and Tourism Department. Any Hospitality and Tourism Department are here? I think we need to sit again, checking into the visits that you have proposed. No, we need to check. And I'll tell you, even if we get 60, the ICFAI University, 60 students for hospitality and tourism, we can place them for internship in UK. We can test for final placement in UK. 5 five-star hotels belonging to the bird company are already waiting. Just a green signal for us. That's why I keep on insisting on that. Anyway, this one. Yes, go to the next slide. Now, Chinese Confucius. Confucius says like this. I think, it says, education breeds confidence. Now you'll understand, education must bring confidence. Why we want to be strong in the curricular activities? Because this is a very powerful tool to bring confidence to a student. That's why the curriculum. But our strength in ICFAI will be more on the co-curriculum side and extracurriculum side. Okay? And then the second one says, confidence breeds hope. Of course, hope breeds peace. Let's go to the next slide. Now, this is what we should all learn today. See, the question is, you face an interview, your mark sheets, your certificates, We call it as paper tiger. That paper tiger is only good enough for you to be called to face your interview. Okay, it ends there. But whenever you face the interview, we will ask you a question like, what can you bring on the table? Midang hiyan ang titilo, ingingay titilo ka, kanredo ni ka. Hey, mi panga tunay kan lakchin ka. Ano mo? Can you stand up, please? 1, 2, 3, 4. What happened to the report? See, I'll tell you in your face, all 5 of you. Remain standing. The reason why we take you is not because of your qualification, but because of your personality and because of your attitude. Are you slowly getting it here? Qualification, in qualification, please be very clear from the beginning. We are more interested in what you bring on the table for the university, for the setup, how much you can contribute. The key word here is, sit down, contribution. How much you can contribute? Oh, it's your contribution that matters. If you have a personality that finds it very difficult to jail well with people look again, you are miles behind. Better raise up the bar. Okay? Because all your life you will be dealing with people, whether you like it or not. Okay? I don't know whether you are aware. One of my strengths is that I'm very strong in psychology, human psychology. Put any person in front of me in 4 minutes, I can understand the person. Okay? It's something like when you go for interview, you have to study the board, they have to study you. It's a two-way traffic. Okay? Hey, department kan nanti zong te pesu. I think Henry will understand. Henry, he's standing here in his department. Among the people, he's so strong that, it's not that there are not good people among the candidates. I think there were 11 candidates. We took you because your reputation here, your standing here is unmatched. So which means even the experts are on your side. The head of department was on your side. Okay? So which means you have achieved so much while being a visiting faculty. And if Mizoram was a visiting etc. Core faculty are on loot payan chitsia. Please, it's not that we are not aware. Very much aware. And I look at the entire picture from the perspective of students. Once in a while, I'll ask you one thing. Just one question. Just stand up. Oh. Hey, MBA student, pakat kan ni tani. Vanlal duata. Drop. Just one singular imudanan sa ite. Duata.
He is very obedient and good listener.
So it's waldo more. Obedient in imuta emet. Adang le.
He is a good listener as far as I approach him.
Emet. Just remain there. I think the head of department management is here. So it's a straight answer about this Vanlal Duata.
He's not very sincere in his studies.
He is not.
Very sincere in his studies, but
Say
in other
more.
activities.
He is not sincere in his studies. Opinion.
But he's good in other things, like in other activities outside the university, other than the academic.
Hey, Vanlal Duata Bula. Why Kasoli? Recruiters koila kon tanian aharsang nangang new ron laki. Inu chi yan aron duang ka. Inu business yan aron duang mo. Yes. One class ila apply yan. Boy kat semester lu yan ron kalon. attendance now content to get present. Which means, before you enter into the class where your teacher is there, you have to understand the situation. But the process he followed wasn't correct. See, look at this. That means there's a big difference between your objective. Objective may be very good. I said, Uleng, can I ask a very personal question, Kapita? He said, you may. Shilonga kalayan, kukin nula, basketball tiyang daw, nainunin, anlo yung But long story short, aninado. I asked Uleng yesterday, what is the reason behind it? He said, maybe her mother is not on my side. And she got married to Indian Foreign Service fellow, Seipu Ikden. He died, and at the age of 53, Neinu also died. I came to know that she is no more, only through Uleng yesterday. Anyway, I'm just bringing another talk. Everyone has a story. Correct? Everyone has a story. Let's say if we can be strong in customer service, people skill, problem solving skill, I think you have come a long, long way. In the only screen and then if people say he is teachable, he is trainable, I think you go and work in any place in India, abroad, they will say this fellow needs to be. Hey, salary, what is the amount and because there are so many areas where you can learn. By the way, yesterday I said, because of the pressing need and the number of students increasing so much, any faculty, any staff members in the ICFAI division Mizoram, if you want to start a hostel, go ahead. You have the VC permission for that. Because that is a very good setup where you can earn extra income. And here we need not consult Hyderabad on this. Because of the need. Let's look at the last slide. It says here, intelligence, I'll interpret it as creativity, plus problem, plus character, that is the goal of education. This is what Martin Luther King says. He's the same fellow says, I have a dream. Okay? So what we do is, whatever skill set we have, keep on improving. Okay? I don't share with people, but I'm a corporate speaker. Okay? With companies, full day from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. we had interaction, the corporate guys. And by the way, my style is more the corporate side. Identify the results, go back, fine-tune the process, and get what you want. Okay? Sometimes you must be wondering, why is the VC saying, he is the first bed country, Lahian Heihikat. This is a target. Even for the third batch, I'll be too happy we get 15 to 25. And we are still in the process of identifying. Going to be very interesting. Stay with me because we will be getting at least around 40 NCC. That is where the women contingent, male contingent will be working. Entry long NCC long and then we have already identified the editor for our journal in research also. I think once you officially join, then I think from the VC, an official letter will be issued saying you are this editor, you are this more. Looking forward to that. And the undergraduate here will be strong in NCC. Stay alert because in NCC we are going to do a nice selection of the cadets who are with us, boys and girls. NCC, boys and girls. And then for the NSS, because NSS is equally as good as NCC in India. For the NSS, we have 2 units working. One will be 100 member, another one is 100 member. Hey, that is where we have to do it. Unit 1 can take care of that. And if they allow, we would love to work on TNT for the second unit. So they like TNT. More. That's it. By the way, one more announcement I'll make, and then with that, Madam can take over. Okay? I think it is more about education. The sad part about education is that you cannot ignore education because it's all about learning. Unlearning, relearning, kanivetta. Is it possible for an educated brain to be uneducated in many other ways? It's possible also. Anyway, I leave those thoughts to you. If all things goes well, Professor Dr. Luang Tia, he will be coming on Friday for our 1 p.m. program. 1 p.m. he'll come and distribute the staff certificate and then the faculty certificate. And then he will make a short speech. After the short speech, in our library, we are going to have one small area where we'll call it Dr. Professor's Luang Tia speech. That is what will happen on Friday. 1 and Luang Tia Page. Guest of honor Talian Ron Siam. Guest of honor Nilo Topam. Chief guest to Rinika. Akalo Meme Tani. No. Psychology Nikaga. Many students then we are teaching Canada. Set have a comment around. MZD here do talk here in low, Sorta who don't there. Do not ICFAI and so yes, we're talking about the future. That's the reason why I said Mizoram and culture studies, increase your numbers so that we can take some steps for you. Life is a number game. If the number is on your side, unknown bika, drop. Hey, in CVK, kamu turan ronda chin. In percentage, I'm ziaklo pechu. Kahedu big da. In zielo na chanka lo omelet damo. In interview ni po love 33 years. 70, above 70, that comes down. 10 plus 2 and 60 at My first question to our is, Hun Lai and Bill Pioneer. Sir, come in. That is psychology. Because everything is linked together. Okay? With that note, let's try to make a good day about us. And I think it was Fiona Patsuau, then Priskill, and then a Patuna Rebellion. Keep a note of that. And I think we are starting to practice. Hey, in Chungkwa in Kodan Kahelo. But then each word, Ilenchua, don't po here, Lule Paimon. So the like Galon, that's a culture that you should bring into your home. And I expect the same thing here. Okay? Otherwise, we should not ask ourselves questions here. Pray that some good things happen, and I hope you groom yourself so well that to the outside world, they should say, why not you come and join us? Then I believe you have made yourself a name for yourself. Madam came, so little bit of introduction, and I think the plan is that yesterday, what time the lunch came? 12:30 mark. So which means short break, and then we'll need to.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Today we welcome Professor Linda Zongini for coming here in spite of your tight schedule. Professor Linda Zumuli, I think that she doesn't need much introductions. I think her reputation precedes her. She's very famous among the educational field. Her qualifications are BSc and MA educations and BEd, certificate in human rights educations, and right now she has 22.4 years of experience in teaching in university. She has 9 PhD scholars and 5 MPhil students. She has published over 50 articles in UGC listed and peer-reviewed journals. She has given a number of lectures in different universities like Nehru, Calcutta University, NUEPA, ICFAI, Swami Vivekananda University, West Bengal, Karimganj College, Government Aizawl College, Jethangima College, Johnson College, ATI Aizawl, and MZU.
So can we do one thing? From the examination department, so many of you have finished taking the supplementary papers. Remaining, I think this, the moment this one session closes, means after one.
Yes.
Let's finish that.
Okay, all faculty who haven't checked their answer paper yet, that supplementary exam paper, we have to finish it today. Because last day is tomorrow, so we have to wrap up today itself, okay? After the session is over.
Madam will not mind if we take a good photo. Yes. So can we make it? We take a photo.
Go lên. Mình sẽ cắt qua để mà cắt qua. Cái lỗ này. Mình sẽ cắt qua để mà cắt qua được các lỗ này.
Ede, tripod hindujem. Tripod.
Connecting lâu cầm qua chứ nó cầm qua chứ nó và connecting có connect bể phúc là anh xong sẽ thế
Yes.
One, two, three. One more time. One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three.
Atu ni kan tun le ngai ni ka rem rem. Kan se cha he he.
Rồi, mày.
Solo può essere io un
Hyderabad la min pe du si lo hetia kan ti mai ngai ni.
Respected Vice Chancellor, ICFAI, my colleagues, I simply call you my colleagues because I realize today we will not have time for self-introductions. So, therefore, I will just simply refer to you all as my colleagues because I believe we all are truly colleagues. So today I have been invited to speak on two very, very important, crucial, relevant topics. And I should actually say 4 topics because each 2 sessions have been divided into 2 subtopics. The first being workplace relationship and conduct. So before I go into my topic, one thing that is very, very relevant about these is because today we hear about so many unexpected news about a very gifted person. A genius just hanged himself. A very, very famous movie star committed suicide. A very, very important, gifted, educated, eminent person have been removed from his place. So there are numerous unexpected circumstances that come into our world beyond our expectations. Some of them positive and some of them also not very positive. When ICFAI was initiated and when they came to Mizoram, there was no rule that said only people who had these kinds of specifications, they will need to have black hair. They should not weigh more than 60 kilograms. They should speak Mizo. They should be careful not to maintain any kind of relationship besides work relationship. There were so many do's, so many don'ts that were not placed in the recruitment rules. Had it been like that, we would not need to speak on the topic that we have to speak about today. But not just in ICFAI, everywhere else also. This is how the world is. I like my tea without sugar. My husband likes his with sugar. My son cannot eat without dal. The elder one cannot eat with dal. So we are a mix of different people coming together because of necessity. I have not chosen you as my workmates. You have not chosen me as yours. And the situation being the way it is, we all of us need to make the best of it, isn't it? I will not talk about qualifications because you all are qualified. I am not going to talk about academics because you all have from the speech that I just heard from the Vice Chancellor himself. You all are so stupendously qualified, maybe overqualified, some of you. So, today, the topic that has been chosen for me, workplace relationship and conduct. I'm glad it has been chosen for me because I must be the one who needs this most. And because of my experience as a teacher, our academic head spoke about my 22 years in the university. But before that, I worked for nearly 10 years in the high school as a science teacher. So roughly, my experience as a teacher has been more than 31 years. Until today, there is nothing that I enjoy more than standing in front of my students or standing with my students, learning with them and teaching them, and also giving them a chance to teach me in some cases. Because students have so much to teach you, if only you give them a chance. But I have come to realize that is not the only thing. And especially in a department like mine, where there is a mix, it's like a cauldron actually, where people from so many different disciplines come together. We have people from mathematics, we have people from commerce, we have people from life and physical sciences, we have people from statistics, we have people from humanities, languages, philosophy, so on and so forth, you name it. They are all there in the department, in the School of Education. This is why it's so very important to learn each day to manage human dynamics. They are not like research methodology, where there is a fixed format, isn't it? Either you go for the qualitative kind or you go for the descriptive kind, you go for the quantitative kind. There are approaches that already have outlines for them, made by our predecessors, isn't it? So it's easy to follow, because the path is already there. You have acquired your masters by following a path that had already been pre-designed even before you were born, even before I was born. However, when it comes to workplace dynamics, there is no pre-designed path. And that is why even what we will be discussing today is only, the surface. There are so many things that I do not know about you, about ICFAI. Let alone ICFAI. Even in my household, there are so many things that I don't know. And sometimes it's very, very difficult to admit, this is my household. And to admit that there are so many things that I don't know about it. The same for institutions, our workplace, where we devote much of our time. I understand that most people think that teachers have an easy life. They come slightly late and they leave early, but they do not know the amount of time that we devote each night, sometimes at the expense of our private life. But we teachers, we understand each other, isn't it? So, from my experience, which is not very big, only maybe roughly about 31 years for me, but I'm thinking even my teaching experience alone is older than some of you, by the looks. Thankfully I have somebody to mind my slides for me. So, although the topic is on workplace relationships and conduct, I feel the person, me, myself, and I is more important before I think about my relationship in others. So therefore, when we are going to talk about professional workplace relationships, it's important that I understand how to conduct myself before I think of anyone else. Why have I been recruited as a teacher? Why have I been recruited recruited as an administrator here in this university? These are some of the questions that I hope we will ask ourselves. So what is conduct? A person or an organization or a group's general behavior, especially in relation to another person, other members of the group, or another association. How have you been thinking about conduct? Your personal hygiene, the way you dress, the way you like to speak with others, how you like to sit, how you like to sleep. Maybe that is the way you have been thinking about conduct, how you have been explaining conduct. But the dictionary meaning and the meaning given by professionals is the behavior, especially in relation to another person or other members of the group or another association. There are lots of rivalries going on between institutions, especially if they are similar institutions. And so long as the competition is healthy, it's good. But once the rivalry, once it turns into rivalry, it's no longer healthy. Not for the people involved, not for the institution. A very good example is Nehu and Mizoram University. We are a product, a baby of Nehu. And thankfully till today, there has only been a beautiful mother-daughter relationship between Nehu and us. I hope ICFAI and us will also try to forge that kind of relationship. Can we go to the next one, please? So, workplace conduct. Can I take off this, is it campaign? Okay, good. Okay, let's run up for you. Thank you so much. So, workplace conduct is how employees behave on the job. It includes communication, collaboration, ethics, rule following, workplace attire, personal hygiene, food habits, punctuality, all of the things that you always thought were parts of the conduct. They are true. They are really parts of your conduct. Punctuality, attitude towards job are some of the things associated with conduct. Some call it professionalism, others refer to it as behavior, but conduct is much broader than all of that. It's what you do when nobody is watching. It's how you handle pressure, disagreement, success, or power. And I feel this is not just important for us teachers and educational administrators, but also for everybody. Because as I said, we have not, not just educational institutions, but anywhere where you have more than 2-3 persons working together, it's always a melting pot. You don't have a choice who is going to come in that pot. So as I said earlier, this is not about capabilities. This is not about your ability to conduct yourself in the classroom, your textbook knowledge, your subject knowledge. Because if you cannot handle workplace relationships, you might have been gold medalist throughout your academic career, but I promise you, you will not enjoy yourself. So the first thing when we talk about workplace relationship is workplace conduct. How do I conduct myself first? Right now my mother is in a hospital bed. This is her 2nd week in the hospital. And today my sister, we are just 2 sisters. My sister had to take leave so that I could come here. Sometimes there is a big chunk of self-sacrifice that you have to do. And when you do that, sometimes, I'm not saying always, the next stage often is self-pity. And that is not healthy. And I will tell you more about the importance of not going to the second stage. And if you cannot help it, to patiently wait before you do anything drastic. Second, next please. So, some of the workplace conduct that we can see, let us talk about professional conduct. The professional conduct focuses on reliability. I've been trying to be professional. ICFAI has been relying on me for the past 30 days to come on the 28th of July. And even though my mother is sick, there is a matter of integrity. There is a matter of accountability. There is a matter of responsibility. So now do you understand? This is not about having your PhDs, your double PhDs, your triple PhDs now here in India. So, example maybe, I was just randomly writing down the examples. There are so many examples that you can also contribute to. Delivering work on time. The university starts at 9:30. Are we there? Can my colleague, your academic head stood up and introduced me saying, maybe for most people, Professor Linda does not need much introduction because most everyone knows her. And he was saying that in a very, very positive light. And then just as he was saying that, my friend over here, he called me to prepare my slides, and I saw the wrong spelling, the misspelled word of behavior. So, I will not continue. You can have a conversation with your mind on that. How do you want people to know you? How do you want people to remember you? And once they know you and remember you as one kind of a person, when they actually meet you and see how you perform, the consequence of failure is damaged reputation. First of all, anybody who saw my first slide would have seen, okay, she may be a good teacher, she may be an experienced teacher, but in spellings, not so great. Poor reviews. And these are the things that come after experience. You understand? This section is before the experience, but this section is after the experience. Now ethical. This is about honesty. We will speak more about this. Fairness, responsibility. Example of a good conduct, refusing to cover up a teammate's fraud. This may seem extreme, but in many cases, the downfall of institutions, political parties, have been because of this. They seem heartless. I know. But I will just tell you about an experience, not my experience, but my pastor's experience. He was working as a pastor in South India. And you know the tithe, wherever you are, we Christians, I have not asked you about your religion, but I'm just assuming by your faces that we are all Christians. So Christians, what we do is, we may not be very religious, but what we do is immediately when we get our salary, or as business people, immediately when we have, concluded our profits, we give tithe, a tenth of what we have. So they were collecting tithes. And as they were leaving, the elder in that church, he scooped a handful of the tithe and put it in his pocket. And my pastor was on his way out, but he had forgotten maybe a pencil or something. So accidentally, he turned back to see his elder putting some cash in his blazer pocket. And he recounted the experience to me after 15 or 16 years passed. He said, I don't know who was more embarrassed, he or me. It was such a disappointment to see my elder, the one person so very much respected in the congregation, doing that. I did not do anything. I could not go to him and pray. I could not do anything. I just turned back and went out the way I had come. Until today, I am sorry that I did not confront him. But being placed in that position, I could not do anything. Have we been placed in that position? When we see somebody committing fraud, but to oust him or her would mean making enemies, isn't it? Not just of that person, but the people who would be siding with that person. And this is why in many cases frauds happen. Not just in educational institutions, almost everywhere. In order to have the Minister of Education deposted, Wangchuk had to fast for 28 days. And not only did he fast, he also had people backing him up. It takes courage, it takes cooperation, it takes lots and lots of self-sacrifice sometimes for this. The result is loss of trust, internal sanctions. There are so many examples that I can give that you all can give. Please have conversations with your mind as we share. I will just tell you an incident. Before I came to Mizoram University, I was working as a teacher in Saitwal. And I did not have a private vehicle, so I had to rely on maxi cabs. And one morning, on the journey from Aizawl to Saitwal, a person was smoking, and the lady sitting behind him scolded him. Please stop smoking. Why are you smoking during a journey? Throw away your cigarette. The person reluctantly threw away his cigarette. We stopped at selling for our lunch. And there were small tables set for about 2, 3, 4 persons. And there in that boys' circle, everybody was saying, what do you think they said? Anyone? Mizo culture being the way it is, what do you think they said? 2 more? No. That is why. You know what they were all saying? Pitar Swan Kir. You're saying that because you're educated and you know what good proper conduct is. And you're speaking from your own point of view. But from the point of view of general resource, it doesn't work like that. If you're very polite, over. If you're gracious and if you praise somebody, nimbo. This is why it's very difficult to grow in a society like ours. Second, please. So good conduct is important because the dangers of the opposite of bad conduct. I just want to ask you, what do you think of these young entrepreneurs that have come up in Mizoram with no background in business? But you see them growing by leaps and bounds. They are building houses, they are building business houses. They have so many employees all of a sudden. Have you ever thought about the source of that growth? Do you think they deserve respect? I told you from the outset, while I was speaking, please have conversations with your mind. Bad conduct creates dissatisfaction. It creates conflict. And it creates to be added by participants. So can you tell me, I see some familiar faces, but I'm not going to call anyone by name. So can you tell me what bad conduct creates? General dissatisfaction, we all understand. It creates conflict, we all understand. But what else do you think it creates? Bad conduct. There are so many different kinds of bad conducts, by the way, isn't it? A person is unceasingly late, always tardy. You cannot rely on that person. And ultimately that person might even lose his job. And a very, very gifted person. Because the lack of conduct on the part of the administrators may also get out of that institution. Remember, bad conduct can happen both ways. So, can anyone tell me just one or two maybe thing created by bad conduct?
It makes you question your identity.
Question your identity. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Suppose if that conduct is performed by another person, and suppose if I was in the right place, and if that person, regularly misconducts himself or herself, it would create sort of like it would make me question my identity, like my decision.
Or, that could be as an administrator, you might question, why did I hire him? Why did I bring him in as a part of the team? Or am I not important? Do I not deserve respect? Center. And somebody was, yes.
Mistrust.
Hmm?
Mistrust.
Mixed
Mistrust.
mistrust. Yeah, that's very, very important, isn't it? And when you can no longer trust that person, it's so very sad. It's the ultimate end of almost everything. When you can no longer trust a person. Isn't it? Next, please. So now, coming to workplace relationships. Number one, we all know this through our interviews also. Be diligent. Be honest with your workplace colleagues. Show mutual respect and respect, but do not maintain very, very strong boundaries. This is important. I will try to elaborate. I don't know whether I will succeed, but I will try. Show trust and expect trust. The first one, when we talk about being diligent, is a part of self-conduct, how I conduct myself. Am I worth what I am being hired for? The university has hired me to work as a teacher till I am 65 years old. Have they spent their money in the right place? You know, there are different kinds of employees. There are employees that try to sock the employers the maximum way possible. And then there are those kinds of employees that try to give as much as possible. What kind of employee do you want to be? Be honest with your workplace colleagues. There used to be a joke back in the day about a teacher whose father died. And the new headmaster was very sad. I think we should suspend class and go. The colleagues all laughed and they told the headmaster, this is the third time his father has died. For every new headmaster, he had an excuse to abscond from his duty without paying from his salary. Do we want to be that kind of a person? We may think people do not know us, but I'm telling you, people know. People know us. Show mutual respect. That is very, very important. The Vice Chancellor is important for me, but so is our cleaner. We all have our places. We all have our duties. And especially now, you know, not speaking from a professional point of view, but speaking as a person who belongs to a certain society, I have come to appreciate these small-time vegetable vendors, these, you know, small-time startups, somebody owning a business as small as Coca-Cola. Because it's so honest. A person earning his living by folding envelopes. It's so honest. It's so clean. And I think here in our society, it's high time that we begin to respect. It's important, and I'm telling you, once you show respect, unless and until it is a person of, you know, very, very different character, they cannot help but show you back respect. It's just mutual. It just happens naturally. And when we talk about boundaries, these are important. We are talking about personal boundaries. We are talking about my life story, your life story. Outside the work for which I am not a part of. When it's written, respect boundaries, the other way to read this is, do not gossip. This may be the third time your colleague is getting married. Do not gossip. But if that colleague needs advice from you, give advice. Lend a helping hand. This is how you maintain relationships. Not by just sticking to what you believe, like wearing a straight jacket all the time, not allowing anybody to enter and not coming out of that straight jacket itself. It can be tiresome, not just for you, but also for the people around you. Show trust and expect trust. This is almost like showing mutual respect. Once you trust somebody, that person will also trust you. Definitely. And this is why in so many cases you find good partnerships between certain institutions and a lack of even the basic required association with another institution. Mainly because of this trust level. For many years, Mizoram University was not a university in its own right. It was just a station for Nehu. We called it the Aizawl campus. But after more than 15 years working as a campus, Mizoram became Mizoram University. And if you read about the goings on during the partnership, a more beautiful story you may not find. All of the assets that had been there during Nehu time, Nehu simply said, let it now belong to Mizoram University. Salary-wise, it said, let the salary be just as the same as Nehu. But do you know how long it took to earn that kind of a trust? More than 15 years. Don't expect somebody to just come and trust you, and don't just trust a person at face value. This is something that you should earn, and you should also expect someone else to earn. It's easy to simply say, look at a person, give him a good handshake, you know you can trust him. But the most untrustworthy person has also read that story, and he knows how to behave. So don't rely on that. The people with the strongest handshakes are not necessarily the most trustworthy. Next, please. So, what we have to do is we need to accept each other. As has been introduced by our academic head, I am from the Department of Education. And we are, as I said, a melting pot, and literally a melting pot. Some of us are atheists, some of us are Christians, some of us are Hindus, some of us are Muslims, some of us are agnostics even. And it's very, very important that we accept each other. Some of you may be very, very religious. Some of you may not be so. For some of you, Saturday night may be a time to rest, like it is for me. But for someone else, it could be a time to go to church. It's important that you respect each other's choices if it does not affect your institution and your performance in a negative way. So it's very, very difficult to put all of those points in a specific boundary because they all, they all overlap. This is about respecting someone else's boundary. And this is also about trusting that person. Are you a person who doesn't, trust somebody that does not attend church? Or are you that kind of a person who doesn't trust somebody that doesn't attend church? So if your belief, the basis on how you choose to trust, because trust is a choice. In many cases, trust is a choice. 90% of the time, trust is a choice. How do you base your choices to either trust or distrust a person? If it is too strong, if it is too rigid, you might need to change. Give credit where it is due. In the second part of our lecture, especially when it comes to academic honesty, giving credit where it's due is going to be very, very important. Somebody has done maximum work, but he's not getting the credit. Have you been through that? You have done all the sweat. You have done all the running. You have done all the trudging. But ultimately you do not get the respect. Will you continue to be happy in the same situation where the same experience is repeated again and again? And I have spoken about not gossiping. The most important thing is communicate, communicate, communicate. It's important to communicate. If you feel it's not fair, communicate. And how do we communicate? We will speak about that. I don't know if I have the next slide. Can you just check? When we talk about workplace relationships, communicate, communicate, communicate. Do you like the certain way something is conducted, your morning assembly, the duration of your classes, the after-class activities that you have, your co-curricular activities? Do you like how they are conducted? Is there too much of a stress on sports and you're not good in sports? Is there too much of a stress on certain kinds of sports but not the kind of sports that you like? Communicate, communicate. So when we talk about workplace relationships, now first of all with our campus, with our environment, let us show love. You will not spit in a place where you feel love. Take care of your surroundings like it is your home. And this is so very, very important. I think I have been to the worst and the best universities here in India. I have not gone abroad. But what I have seen is how much love can affect the surroundings. In some places, the halls are so beautifully decorated, but once you enter the bathrooms, I will not continue. Take care of your surroundings like it is your home. Observe cleanliness and healthy hygiene. hygiene. This is so very much important, not just for your, overall health, but your mental health also. Take pride. This is so very important. Do you take pride in your institution? Are you proud that you are a faculty, that you are an employee, that you are the vice chancellor, that you are the registrar, that you are the academic head, that you are an office staff of ICFAI University? Do you take pride? I promise you, if you take pride in your university, you will be diligent. You will not gossip. You will try to maintain good relationship. You will collaborate with others, even the difficult ones, because of pride in your university. Can you go to the next, please? I still have about 5 minutes left only. So the benefits of good workplace conduct is that it has given rise to good mental health, self-satisfaction, productivity, and retention. Productivity is important. How you work while others are not there is important. I come from the university where people as junior as maybe having minimum 10 years experience are already professors. People who have been there since the university came up are still assistant professors. The university is now spending its 25th year. And I think this is a good example of productivity. The university retains you, but if you were not productive, you will not grow. You will just be stagnant. So, retention. Why is that? I do not want to disclose this, but let me disclose it, only just for today. I was, recruited as an expert in an MPSC interview for certain education officers. And one interviewee that came was nearly 40 years old. She was not qualified to sit for other open examinations. And we asked her, because she was so good. And to be very frank, she stood first. And we asked her, you are so good. Why have you been working in a private institution for so long? And you know what she said? I have been enjoying my workplace so much. I have not realized that time was passing. So you may view this in a bad or a positive way, but that was what she said. I did not realize that as each year passed, I was getting older and older and older. It was only when the institution was shifted to farther away from my place that I realized when it became too difficult for me to communicate from my home to my school, that I realized I had to look for something else. And I looked into my employment opportunities and I realized that I was no longer eligible. And this is one of the few posts that I am still eligible for. And so I have come. The one advantage that interviewers have is that we can ask almost anything. And the one disadvantage of the interviewees is that point. They can ask us anything. There is no rule, there's no hard and fast rule that they will only ask from this single chapter. But on that day, I was very satisfied as an expert also. But nearly 40 years. retention is important. And for retention, you need to be able to manage people. Money is important, but people management is most important. This is how you retain friendships. This is how you retain your people, your employees. Next, please. I will not take much time. So the 4 pillars, this is by experts. These are not my words, all right? So respect and inclusivity, treating everyone regardless of their rank, background or identity with equal dignity. This includes active listening and valuing diverse perspectives. I will just read because I want to go to the next slides very soon because I want to share with you all of the slides that I have prepared for us. Clear communication, we have spoken about this. Accountability, owning your mistakes, meeting deadlines and pulling your weight in collaborative projects. Alright, I remember Dr. Lalrimoi. She was my scholar and it was during COVID, and one fine morning I got a knock in my door and she was standing right in front of our door. Marin, how did you get here? And she said, I walked. My house is in Jalpan, right, which is like right next to the tourist lodge, away from the main road. And her house, I believe, is many hills away in ITI. There was no vehicle. It was literally during the most difficult, time of the COVID, the most restrictive period of COVID, and she was standing right there. And the same thing during my pregnancy bed rest. You know what she used to say? Don't mind me. I will just sit at the foot of your bed. You just dictate. I'll write. So she truly deserves her MPhil and her later on PhD. So in the case of people like Marimi, no boundary at all. So keeping personal life and professional life appropriately separated, we have spoken about that, and respecting the personal boundaries of your colleagues. So I told you, somebody, you don't know his story, you don't know her story. This is the 3rd time he's getting married. This is the 3rd time she's getting married. You don't know their story, don't judge, don't gossip. The second, please. The next. So, when we talk about relationship type, I have spoken, I think, lots about relationship type, peer-to-peer, head-to-report, report-to-head type. There are certain kinds of relationships that we need to adhere to, isn't it? So, but I'm running out of time, I know. But here, when we talk about peer-to-peer, our colleagues, we focus on friendship. We avoid, competition is good, but I told you, when it goes beyond the boundary of competition and turns into rivalry, it's not good. Credit others for their ideas, and for head to report, establish clear expectations. If one day you become the head of the department, if one day you become the registrar, if one day you become the vice chancellor, if one day you become a head in your, maybe a local council or whatever the situation is, be clear about your expectations. Deliver constructive feedback and maintain professional distance to avoid favoritism. Sometimes professional distance is important. So report to head, for us, to our head. Let us keep them updated and let us seek feedback again, proactively, and respect their time by coming prepared with solutions. It's important. The next one, please. This is by concluding table. I put this in a separate table because it's so important. It looks so lovely, full of flowers and perfumes. But to be very, very frank, workplace romance can be very, very toxic, especially when the romance wears out. I don't know if there's any, if there is any couple, you will kindly excuse me. And I'm not against workplace romance. Okay, my husband is also a servant, a government servant, and also here, you know me. So I'm not going to, discuss against workplace romance, but just how to navigate the situation as an outsider or a partner in that romance. You check your company policy first. I'm saying company because I think ICFAI is a private company, a syndicated company. Avoid public displays of affection because this is an institution of education. Never let the relationship influence professional decisions or create a conflict of interest. Two people are in love and they did everything together. They even published papers together. But because of family reasons, the man, my colleague, not in my department, but in the university, so you don't know who that is, ultimately had to go for the wife chosen by his parents. I'm not going to talk about the fairness or the unfairness of that, but I just want to talk about the professional side of that relationship. The papers they both worked so hard to publish just became redundant. The lady did not want her name side by side with the man, and the man also likewise did not want maybe his wife, I don't know. But everything came to waste. And this is why I was thinking of, I remember when I attended a workshop on this and we were, given chances for work, team plays and small skits wherein we were divided into groups and we were given 5 minutes to prepare. I was thinking of doing that, but then I realized I was not given the whole day, so I just put it away. But if you have time, maybe without any external person coming in, you may also do that. A simple skit where, 2 or 3 partners can come together. Other 2 or 3 partners can also be chosen. They will have different opportunities to talk about how they will react if a certain kind of situation comes in. So without preparing both sides, without without the 2 groups communicating, you come and do your role play situation. The second situation is when the 3 people and the other 3 people, they all sit together as 6 people, 1 group, and then they come and do the same role play again. I found that very, very effective and also less boring because it was participative instead of just sitting around. In our everyday work life, sometimes you came after a quarrel with your husband, with your parents, with your mother, with your wife, with your husband. And that emotional fracture can harm workplace relationships in many different kinds of ways. That is why it's important to lay down boundaries between the home and the workplace. Shake it off. You can literally, physically shake it off. your shoulders or your head. Otherwise, you carry all the burdens of that argument to your workplace. You cannot smile at your colleagues and they don't know how they have handled you. Have you done something? It's nothing, they haven't done anything, it's just you and your home environment. But it can detrimentally affect your workplace relationship. That is why it's so very important that you also try to maintain boundaries between the home and your workplace, between your department and other departments. If there is anything at all that concerns administration, that concerns fraud, that concerns interpersonal relationships, I want to tell you this. Let the administration be the last resort. Try to resolve it within the smallest group. What my pastor did 35 years ago was not correct. That he chose to walk away. That was not correct. He could have gone to his elder and spoke to him in kindness about the error of his ways. And nobody would have needed to know. But 35 years later, he could not, deal with the pent-up feelings. And ultimately the result was what? Now, most of us will have very, very bad opinion about South India Church. This is what happens when we do not make wise decisions. So, can you please close the slides? Thank you very much. These are the minor things that I have come in order to talk about workplace relationships, how to navigate them, and our professional conduct. I know there are lots of points that needed to be discussed, but we did not have time for all of them to be discussed. And many of those platforms, and many of those are also not very suitable to be discussed in this kind of platform. I think we all understand that. But unless and until we get our transfer, our reappointment in another institution, or our retirement, we will always need to navigate workplace relationships. I hope from today's lecture, I hope from today's discussion, I dare not call it discussion because even that one place where I requested you to give your points, only the two of you participated. So from that small discourse that we had, I hope we have learned at least one thing. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Lunch,